Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla coming back to ya with a crazy start to a car ride with Schla because we were really rushing and I basically just got out when I should have. Like, I just clocked in, you know what I mean? So, pretty tight. Pretty tight for sure. But that's life, you know, that's life. That's life is tight. And yeah. But we're here, we made it. And it's all good. It's great, you know? Sorry, getting myself acclimated here. The obvious thing to talk about is the new iPhone released today, and I'm really tempted to buy it. I know I had been saying for a while, like, I wasn't gonna do that, and I had already made my decision with the impulsively getting the 16 Pro Max when I had been planning on getting the 17 Pro Max for a while. That was always the intention. And then I randomly decided to get this 16 Pro Max out of the blue because I had started doing car rides with Schla and I wanted the best camera possible. And then we'll just do the full background thing. Because the selfie cam is identical on the 14 Plus, which is the phone I had. The selfie cam is identical on the 16 Pro Max and the 14 Plus. So that's not really a good reason for me to want to upgrade, obviously, because it's like, yeah, it's obviously not a good reason to upgrade. And the main reason was that at the time I was going to be using the back cameras. I was going to put the phone facing me from the back. And so it was going to be utilizing the back cameras. And obviously the back cameras on the 16 Pro Max are actually quite a bit better than on the 14 Plus in comparison. It's just how it is. So when that was going to be my decision, I was going with that. And so it seemed like a big uplift. And then I found out that the 16 Pro Max had better cameras. So that ultimately made a lot more sense better cameras, better microphone. The 16 Pro Max had a better microphone. And then that also made more sense for the car rides with Schla. As a backup microphone, the microphone had been given a pretty significant upgrade. In addition, I was able to get a good deal on the 1 terabyte variant. It said it was in refurbished, but it was essentially brand new. It was in wonderful condition for about $500 off what it usually costs the 1 terabyte. Thought it was a pretty good deal. Probably not. It wasn't a crazy deal. It was just a fine deal. You know, it wasn't like a showstopper. It's not anything to like write home about, but it was a good deal nonetheless. And I had made my decision. And the interesting thing is some of the rumors became true now that we know they did in fact cancel the titanium. They're no longer doing the titanium. So in that sense, I'm happy I got what I got, because I'm probably the only person who actually cares about that, as I don't wear my phones are always naked. So having the titanium is a huge difference to me. I feel it. In addition, I'm very tactically intuitive, so I can tell. Like my hands are very sensitive and my skin is very sensitive. So I really appreciated the titanium, and I doubt that the aluminum is really going to have the same feeling. I don't think it will. And so in that sense, I'm happy that I have the 16 Pro Max, because it is the latest one with the titanium. It's a very well built, great feeling phone. But again, now that this is out, I'm a little bit disappointed in myself, because I really thought I was going to be strong and I was going to get through it. Like I wasn't going to end up in a situation where I was even considering it. Like I knew, like I had made this commitment with myself that I wasn't going to be spending a lot of money, and I was really remaining true to that. I'd, promised myself. And at the end of the day, the other thing was I really wanted black. I really wanted my phone to be black. I'm into this whole black aesthetic right now. All the wool clothing I got was black. So that's pretty cool. Everything's been all black recently. That's what I've been doing. And I really wanted a black phone, and so I was going to get the 17 Pro Max in black, was my original plan. But then now that isn't happening, because they don't even have it in black. So in that sense, I'm super happy. Like mentally, I'm very happy that they didn't do a black, because that at least validates that decision. And I'm also very happy they switched back to aluminum, because it also validates my decision, because I'm very happy to have the titanium. They give reasoning for it because of cooling and how aluminum is better for thermals. I don't really think that makes that much sense personally, as I haven't seen the specs yet. But in my opinion, it's probably more of a future-proofing decision. I could be wrong, but again, I genuinely just don't. Well, now I'm second. I'll finish what I'm saying and then I'll give my correction. I was going to say I genuinely can't believe that whether it's aluminum or not right now is really affecting that much. Like, I think it's bogus. And I was going to say that it's most likely a future-proofing decision, because it's likely that at some point, maybe next year's CPU or the CPU 2 years from now is going to be even more hot. And in that case, they would have to switch over to the aluminum eventually anyway. So maybe they're just speeding up the inevitable, right? They're figuring, we're going to need to do this eventually. Let's just do it now. That's a possibility. You know, it's a possibility. But then I'm correcting myself because I'm remembering that because it's a fanless thing, it is most likely getting way more sustained performance as a result of any even minor thermal tweaks. So that's probably the big thing. Even though the Air is using the same CPU, it's probably downclocked for the Air. Probably. And even if it's not, somebody just like almost hit me for some reason. It's some old woman. She had to screech her brakes to a halt, but I don't think I was doing anything crazy. I already had let so many people in front of me. Like, what? That was not necessary. I'm like always so chill with stuff. Like I let like a million people in front of me. I'm not like cutting it or doing anything crazy. Anyways. What? I don't even remember what I was talking about now because that was just like weird and stressful because I heard the screech of the brakes. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't remember what I was talking about now. That's a shame. Some complicated iPhone opinion of mine, right? Like some overly analytical. Oh, yes, the cooling. Thank goodness I remembered. It is true, like for sustained bursts, improved cooling is a very good thing, and even if it's just a few degrees on a passively cooled device, yeah, it probably matters. So my original intuition is just going to get put out the window because I do think it probably makes a difference. But what I'm going to say is the true reasoning and the true issue and problem is that because now the metal is changing. Now let's take note of this. Somebody honking at me and nothing even matters because there's a traffic jam anyway. So he's not getting any more ahead as a result of the speed I'm going. Sorry, just for my sanity, I have to point that out. Anyways, let's think about what else is new. Yeah, so cooling is important, but the new design is a mostly metal design now. It's not just the metal rim with a glass back and a glass front. It now has a lot more metal on the back, more similar to how things used to be, with basically a glass patch underneath that I assume is mostly for the wireless charging, but it could also be some kind of an antenna pass through as well. And all that extra metal could definitely be used for superior cooling as opposed to just having glass, which is obviously not very great for cooling. Sorry, losing my train of thought. I think the main reason is because before, when they decided to do titanium, it just didn't really cost all that much because you only had the bumper around the phone as the metal. So they had been doing stainless steel, I think, on the Pro series. And switching to titanium just made sense because it feels really nice, and it's more durable. And so they did that. But then now that they're doing so much more metal on the back again, the cost is probably just like way too high to do all that, because it's not just a simple border around the phone. It's also like the entire front upper half with all the camera section and things. So I'm assuming that is the real reason why they swapped back to aluminum, because of cost. I think they were probably looking at the logistics of it and figured that it just didn't really make any sense because, and again, this may need to be verified, but I thought that the titanium, it's not solid titanium. I thought it was basically just a thin layer of titanium on the outside of the phone. It's not a solid titanium chunk. So again, I don't know how metals work exactly, but assuming it was still aluminum underneath, if you had some kind of cooling system with that is the system, I don't really understand how a thin layer of titanium on the outside and a mostly aluminum core would really affect the cooling system that much. I could be wrong. Again, I've never looked into this, but I'm just thinking about how the physics would work, and the heat sink would still be hooked up via aluminum. It would just have a titanium shell. Well, I guess heat would maybe not be able to emanate as well, because there would be that titanium blockage basically sealing it up. Yeah, I guess. I'm just questioning it a little bit. I really think it just comes down to money, and they're not going to say that. They're going to say it has something to do with the cooling. Look, I'm fine with it either way. Like, if I'm cool with it either way. I don't know. This is just me spitballing right now. Like, I don't know what the answer is, and I just wanted to give my theory and my intuition about that. It's most likely money, because here's the thing. Most people don't rock their phones naked. So that's just something that I do. And so why does it make sense for most people? It doesn't. So Apple's putting this high quality titanium on the phone, and it's literally an outer layer. It's not really made to make the phone substantially lighter. It's not like the entire phone has a titanium frame or something. That would be much more of a functional use if the entire phone had a titanium frame or something like that. But that's obviously just not the use case. So it's just for texture. It's just for a premium feel. And I think at the time, Apple was lacking a lot of innovation. So they wanted to do the titanium because they wanted to have something new. And then now they're rescinding it because it really didn't make a lot of sense for most people. Similar with Force Touch, how that kind of quietly got removed. And I'm sure there could also be other things that are not coming to my mind, other features that they had and then had just removed quietly. Because, again, it's helpful for a company. Because you want to come out with a new thing, and then eventually it's easier than to just keep innovating and innovating. You can kind of tone it down a little bit and chill, and then maybe bring stuff back. Maybe in a couple years they'll bring back titanium when there's like a dry spell. I'm very sorry. I feel like my vocal performance this episode is horrible. And I don't know why that is, because I've been feeling very good. I've wanted to report I had a ton of ice cream this morning. I'm still using and experimenting with a much higher sodium intake because I salted my beef a ton for this week. So for this whole week, my salt intake is substantially higher than usual. And I feel great. I've walked really fast today, and I'm noticing my leg pain is gone, especially my knee pain. And I wonder if it was just too much water and not enough salt. I think what's happening, though, is my mind is not very happy. Because on the one hand, this new iPhone is super exciting, but I'm really at a conflict because I'd love to buy it, and I think either way I'm just not really that happy. Like, because I really put myself in this position where I was going to be strong, and now I don't know if I'm going to be strong. I want to highlight the main thing is the fact that it has, even though it is just aluminum, a higher percentage of the body is metal. That is a huge draw for me. I like that a lot. I know that that texture is going to be superior. In addition, the color cosmic orange, it is just my favorite color they've ever had for any of the Pro models ever. So it's very appealing to me, and that is really, I genuinely think if they just had a dull color, I wouldn't be as interested in it. But the fact that that is the color is a huge draw for me. It just is. Like, I really like this cosmic orange. It's amazing. I don't know. I've never liked any of the Pro model colors that much. If I'm thinking in retrospect, I think I liked the purple on the 14 Pro probably the most. Second to that was probably the green on the 13 Pro. I don't think any of the other Pro colors really stood out to me that much. I obviously have liked the black titanium, but I'm not really going to include that because it's just black. And I even liked the gold, the very saturated gold of the last my 16 Pro Max, the last iPhone. Did like that bright gold a lot, but again, it's gold, which is not a super interesting color. So I would say the purple was probably the most interesting to me. I like it. I still kind of like that color. I think second is that dark green on the 13 Pro Max. But this cosmic orange is really something. I really like it, and I think those are the main two reasons. The final reason is the improved cellular connectivity of their new chip. I think that is the most important uplift right now, is better internet speed, and so that is very important to me. And then I would say fourth is the CPU, and fifth would be more RAM if they had more RAM. They didn't mention that, but I had heard rumors it could have 12 gigabytes of RAM. Pretty interested in that. So those are the main reasons. I genuinely think if it was like a dark orange, I would still be pretty intrigued, honestly. But that color is just amazing. I love that color. I really love that color. So that's what's luring me in. And so I'm saying the reason why the words are not... I am a little concerned because usually I can just speak better, and this is about something I like and could speak a lot about. But I've noticed I'm using a lot more filler than usual, and I'm not really doing the best job of articulating things. So I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I'm hoping it just has to do with, again, how I'm just very mentally overwhelmed right now due to what I've been articulating, which is just the fact that I'm mentally going through a lot right now. I really want to buy this phone, but I had really promised myself I wasn't going to, and I have a lot of decision making to make. But it still shouldn't make my communication worse. I think it's the traffic as well. That's another factor. For a while, the car rides with Schla were a lot better because my job was letting me stay for extended hours, so I was avoiding traffic, and then I was able to focus a lot more on the speaking. But that's really my consensus about it, and I really am sad. I'm very sad. I don't know. I'm sad about it. And if I had still been getting my hours, I don't think I would be that sad. I think I would just be pretty comfortable buying it, honestly, if I was still getting the hours that I got before. I just don't think it would be that big of a deal. Probably would just buy it, And that's why I was saying what made me so happy with the hours before, but it is what it is. But it is. It's those are probably the two biggest reasons. It's that more of the surface is metal, and it's that I love that cosmic orange. It's just such a nice color. But besides that, I'm feeling great. I guess I'm thinking about exiting ketosis. I just don't know if it's for me because I feel a lot better with sugar. I don't know if everybody would, because there's a lot of people who, it might be a thing with skinnier people, where it's just how I'm wired. But we will see, because I don't know if this is a short-term thing and then next week I'm going to be sluggish, but the combination of the salt and sugar is great. Like, I am feeling very good. Something crazy is happening. Like, I am very much interested in maintaining whatever is currently the case. But there's two mindsets, right? You have a side of me that wants to be like a monk and say, I don't need this phone. But the other side of me that thinks, really, what's the point? Like, what is the point of me being so unindulgent? Most people are way more indulgent than me. And I just think I'm hard on myself sometimes, Like, I get really hard on myself. I also don't know anybody who cares. Everybody I know, they're all the type of people that just don't care at all about a new phone or new tech. I've always been the only person who cares my entire life. Any of my friends, any of my family, they're just all people who don't care at all. And I guess most people probably don't care, but it just bugs me. I don't know if it's an obsessive thing. It probably is. I explained I don't like that there's something out there that would give me a better experience, a noticeably better experience, and I don't have it. The car thing kind of bothers me too. I think I genuinely would like to get new cars pretty often, but that's just a little bit different because of how ridiculously expensive it is. Getting a phone, while it's expensive, it's not that expensive in comparison to the car stuff. If I had to get a new car every time they did a redesign, that's still just a ridiculous amount of money. Whereas getting a new phone every year, it's not that crazy, especially because you can return your old phone and slash out a lot of the cost. You know, it's just food for thought, I guess. But even there, I guess I'm just pretty materialistic about those kinds of things, and it's hard. It's hard because I have that standard and I have those desires. And so it's very, very difficult to deal with, you know? It's just incredibly frustrating to deal with that kind of stuff. Because I'm always like that. I don't know. I don't know if is it because there's something else in my life that's incomplete and this is just the thing my mind focuses on. I do think it's a genuine brain thing though, because a lot of people, they don't really notice the difference in the speed and the snappiness of things, whereas I do. And I really appreciate it, or how the finish on the phone is better. Because a lot of people who get the 16, who have the 15 or the 16 Pro Max with the titanium, they just slap a case on it, and it doesn't even matter that it has titanium. And that's really frustrating to me, you know? It's just really a shame. And even a lot of people who have nicer cars like BMWs or Mercedes, I don't even think they take the time to appreciate it like I would. I would really appreciate it. So it's very frustrating that that's just how it is and that I don't have those things, because I just genuinely feel like I would have so much more just appreciation and happiness, so much more like gratitude, because I still do. I don't really forget about my 16 Pro Max even after all these months. It's still something I really appreciate. So I haven't even gotten into the AirPod Pro 3s yet, which I guess I was considering not getting. But I really think I'm just going to get them, because for only $250, that's something I use so often. And I love the fact that it's going to be more comfortable now, and better ANC and better sound quality. It just seems way too good to be true. And so there's no, like, I don't know, for only $250 especially, because they're not going to be raising the price, because that was a potential speculation, which they honestly could. They could easily raise it to $300. But keeping it at $250, it is such a compelling. I'm just going to have to get them. I don't know if I'll get the color wear, though. That was the main thing I wanted, was the color wear. But don't know if that's going to happen, especially because it usually takes color wear a while to actually get them in. And again, because my hours got cut. Like, of course, if my hours didn't get cut. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's frustrating. I really didn't want to indulge in it, but I'm going to have a hard time. But it's difficult for me, because I've always been into this stuff, and nobody I know is. And that's really sad. Oh, that reminds me, another thing I was going to mention. There is somewhat of a practical benefit to it, because I could basically use my 16 Pro Max as a camera, as a dedicated camera, and then I wouldn't have to, the 17 Pro Max would just be my actual phone. So I could go back to using the map on the way home, which I do prefer, not because I need to know, I just like having the map on, and the main reason is because it lets you know traffic, and I just like to be able to see the numbers of, how many miles it is until I get home, how many minutes. I love having extra information, so that's why I like having the map. Even in my car, I would probably like to have a lot of extra dials and metrics and screens on the dashboard. Just evidently is not like that in my car. Seems like Subaru does a pretty good job with that. And I honestly like Subaru's interiors a lot, except I think they're ugly. So that is the issue with Subaru. They do have a lot of extra metrics, and I like it, but they're more expensive, and I think they're ugly, and I also do think their interiors are ugly. Like the exterior and the interior is ugly, and they're just more expensive. So that's why I'm not too into Subarus. But in terms of the extra information, I really like what they do. Like it's good. Now I don't know about super current choices, but maybe the super new Subarus are not particularly special. I don't really know. I have no idea. But yeah, I'm trying to think, I'm just trying to think. What was I don't even know, what was I even talking about? Like, what am I doing? I keep having these moments. Yeah, I'm feeling weird. I'm just my brain does not, and it's cuz I was good. I was like today I was actually really good. I think it's just getting in my head, how I thought I was changed. I really thought I was going to be different, and I'm still having the same urges. So it's thrown me off a lot. I think I was talking about how nobody I know really appreciates any of the tech stuff. So it's just difficult because I don't know anybody who does, and it just seems like that's usually been the case where I'm hyper focused on the important things and everybody else just isn't really fazed by stuff. I'm not really sure how else to articulate that, but that's just what appears to be the case. I'm not super sure how else to explain that, but I don't know. Just hard for me to talk to people, and I want to talk to people so much, but the things I want to talk about, people just don't think about. And then as a result, it makes me more serious, which makes me even more incompatible with people. Because people really just want to joke, and it's just so strange to me. I like joking, but I would feel comfortable joking if I thought the world was a bit more serious and organized. Then I would kind of be okay with loosening up a little bit, but I feel like I have to overcompensate for everybody around me, and it shouldn't be that way. And I know what people would say to that. You shouldn't feel that way. You should still have fun. You shouldn't, even if you do have to overcompensate, that's not fair, and you shouldn't let yourself. And I understand that, but it's just that I can't. I just don't feel comfortable letting loose at all. I don't. But it's such a rough thing. The storage. I'd love to have the 2 terabyte one, but since it's $2,000, I just wouldn't be doing that. I'd definitely just be getting the 256, just the cheapest. And I'd probably want the 512, but I don't like that it's a full $200 up. I wish it was just $100 up. Then I would get the 512, but there's just it's not worth 200. I just don't understand that. Well, I mean I do, because again, the profit margin on the higher storage models is probably higher to try to overcompensate, because it's a more niche buyer group, and so they probably just try to grab more money out of those people, because they know most people are just going to get the minimum storage. And I'm just assuming that is their model, which is why they do, because there's no reason why it wouldn't just be $100 more to go from 256 to 512. There's just no reason. I don't know that I'd need the 2 terabytes. I think the 1 terabyte, I honestly don't really need the 1 terabyte. I think the 512 is a very good amount for a phone, but 1 terabyte's just very comfortable. You know, it's very mentally reassuring for me. And that's kind of why I like having the high storage. It's just, for some reason, it makes me feel so much more comfortable and better to just have ample storage, which is why the 2 terabytes would really matter to me. But what can you do? I don't know. It is what it is, right? And I could probably wait to try to get the 2 terabyte at a lower price. The same thing I did with this phone, but I don't really know if I think I just want to get it now if I can get it now, you know? That's just kind of the vibe I'm going for, I guess. So, yeah, I obviously have a decision to make, or decision to think about. It's just more of the same old, but I'm feeling very happy. I really think salt is healing me. I've been drinking too much water, and it hasn't been good. I think I've been having way too much water. For some reason, I needed the water in order to avoid a headache, but then I think it was just a symptom of not enough salt, and so my brain was signaling thirst, but now I don't even feel that thirsty anymore, so even though I'm eating sugar, so it was salt. I just think I have a high sodium need, and it's a shame that I didn't know that for such a long period of my life. It's just a shame. Sad. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That was really a shame. I didn't know what this guy was doing, so I had to put my brakes on. I don't like to do that. Anyways, it's been schla, but now it's time to buy schla. So, see ya schla.